Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Counter-Strike map pool is yet to see any major changes or additions inside Counter-Strike 2. The game's first debut was a little over a year ago now, and its full release was just a few months ago. The most recent change to the map pool was the addition of Anubis while removing Dust 2 just a couple years ago. And just a month ago, during IEM Katowice 2024, Inferno was showed to be only played 2 times while banned 24. Here in the present day, we're now 2 days into the first CS2 major, and the stats have shown a very similar factor. Inferno has only been played twice and banned dozens of others. With all the recent changes made to Inferno, the percentage of the player base actually enjoying it, that being in Premier but also the pro scene, alongside rumors of new/old maps returning, has fans wondering what is next. What is Valve's next move? Today's video, I want to discuss the future of Inferno inside Counter-Strike 2. Is it next up on the chopping block? And if that's the case, what would replace it?
Today's video sponsor is Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is a buying and trading marketplace where you can trade off your old skins for something new. All you do is log into Steam, then you trade the skins you no longer want to pick up the new skins you want to obtain. Any remaining cash from trading goes to your balance that can be used in any future trade. By using my code MANDO, you can get up to a free $5, and if you choose to deposit alongside using my code, you get a total of a 35% deposit bonus. With Skins Monkey's large variety of skins, they also offer daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways. If interested, it'll be the top of the link in the description below. Now this is Luke in the post edit. Originally today's video was planned to go up last week, but since then, after the first week of the major, Inferno seems to have been played a few more times, which the majority of its percentage being played was by Virtus Pro, but have since been eliminated. Which leads us to a question, which is also the base consensus of today's video, if that makes any sense. The question we'll ask near the end of the video is, will Valve take feedback more from the professional players based off of how much it's played in events such as this recent major, or will they consider it more from the casual space such as Premier and Faceit, since it's the majority of Counter-Strike players? And with this video going up on the 27th of March, on the 26th, Angel on Twitter put out some really interesting pictures, which were eventual concepts of what Inferno was supposed to look like inside Counter-Strike 2. Links to this person will be in the description. Here's a picture of B site, and then there's a picture of middle. Now, at a first glance, you're not really going to notice too much, but as you can see, if you look just closer to the back of each picture, there's a lot more places to hide, especially in that middle part. There's more corners to check, which we will touch on later, that this is the main reason why so many people dislike this new version of Inferno. Another one is next to A site, one being pit and then closer to lane. Pit was actually supposed to have an extension from where you drop off from balcony, where you can see a whole different area on the right side. And in lane, it looks like there's an addition going from lane all the way up into apps, and maybe boiler was taken out, I'm not sure. Maybe it was replaced, or now there's 2 versions to go down to. Overall, I'm glad these concepts didn't make it into the full game, because I feel like Inferno wouldn't be played at all. Maybe it would be for the first couple of months, but it'd start to get really annoying while people camp with shotguns underneath Belk. Now back to the normal video. Firstly, for today's video, let's take a look at the stats to see how much it's played in Premier, but also the pro scene, as well as what Valve tends to care about more in making their final decision, that being with removing or adding a new map to the pool. Now the most recent stats for Premier are from Leadify in the month of December of 2023, so just a few months after CS2's full release, which makes me think just by looking at these stats, these numbers are not the new norm. Out of the maps in the pool, Inferno is the second on the lineup for the most played maps at 18%. I think as Premier stands, the percentage is still very high, but it's definitely not 18%. I don't believe it's second up. But then on the pro scene, on the other hand, it's barely played at all. Now, in my opinion, the big reason why Inferno was played so much more at the beginning of CS2 instead of now was during CS2's release, it was new to many. It had the brand new CS charm, the overhaul. It looked a lot different than CSGO. It had the makeover, which was really awesome, which led, and maybe still does now, leads players to want to try it out. Throughout the last couple of months, I am lucky to get Inferno twice a week, but maybe that's just my RNG, I don't know. Some other things to note, it could differ on your rank, but also your region that you live in. Cheating is a prime example of this. Now, me from North America, I don't run into a whole lot of cheaters, that being on Premier. At least not the blatant ones that I used to see back in CSGO all the time. Whereas a lot of the people I follow on Twitter, some of my friends from other parts of the world, they play 3 to 4 Premier matches a night. They're running into a cheater at least one of those times. With that being said, this now leads us into the stats for Inferno in the pro scene instead of Premier. Similar to Premier, it was played a fair bit in the beginning, but at IEM Katowice 2024, it was only played twice where it was banned 24. Now, during the major for CS2 that started this week on Monday, it's only been played twice so far, and there's been a handful of matches with multiple different broadcasts going on. And finding a reason for why pros feel this way about Inferno inside CS2 is pretty hard to get at the moment. From the things I've heard and seen, most say it just plays slow. It's too tight. There's too many small added additions, or maybe corners for an example, I think on Valve's end just for the sake of change, just to change things up. I now want to discuss my theory of why Inferno will eventually be removed, which this might be a hot take, but like I said, take it with a grain of salt, it's my opinion. If we look at maps before they get removed, we usually see a ramp up in changes from Valve to make sure the map needs to go. If there's too many corners to check on a map or a certain site, Valve makes it bigger, minuses some of those corners you have to check. An example here takes us back to Cobblestone, where it saw a few major changes before it got removed, that being with the A site and other small things here and there while removing/adding new corners. You also had things in CSGO where it was the skyboxes that got altered and things of that nature. Inferno within the last few weeks has seen a wider space to throw nades from CT mid to T stairs, or the T's to CT mid without having to peek anything. There's been some small pots removed, construction cones gone, smoothed out the
the ground on banana. It also increased the headshot level of car, where the board is now where you stand up, you can't see the person's head. Now this doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I think Valve is trying to keep this map alive, changing some things that could help it, but in reality I think just most players are not choosing to. And I'd say the criticism Inferno has got is valid, but there's also some points that are just like, well, what's going on here? My question to you guys is, are we giving Inferno a fair chance? In my opinion, I think most are, but there's also some players that just won't, since the amount of backlash that's been dealt or more so handed out to Inferno. In a way, it scares them off, if that makes any sense. At the end of the day, it's not just Inferno. Some maps in CS2 versus CSGO just play different, mainly from the skyboxes being unlimited versus CSGOs where they were very limited. And it's hard to put into words, especially if you haven't put a lot of time into Counter-Strike 2 and also CSGO, I suppose. They're just very two different games. The gunplay, the mechanics, the maps, you would think everything just has a texture upgrade, which it does on the Source 2 engine. You take Mirage from CSGO versus CS2, it just plays differently. And if you've played both, put a lot of time into both, I think you'll probably understand where I'm coming from. And that's how I think a lot of people feel about Inferno. It just feels a little too different than how it was back in CSGO. Now, going back to one of the questions I had at the beginning of the video is, will Valve remove this map based off of backlash from the pros, casuals, or both sides? In my opinion, I think it's both, but Valve will most likely follow the crowd of the pros if this continues. Casuals and Premier and Face It are the majority, while pros are the minorities. I think how Valve sees if a map gets removed from the map pool is very different for how us casuals, maybe even the pro scene, sees it. I think some pros and a lot of Valve most likely thinks that, well, for the casuals, if you want to play Inferno, you don't have to play Premier. It's still going to be in the game. Just go play competitive, just like how you can for Dust 2 and the maps that just aren't in the pool. So if we enjoyed Inferno as a map enough, we'd just go play it in other modes. But I don't really think many would. And that's not even factoring in how much competitive sucks compared to Premier now. Let me know what you guys think about this down below. If things continue the way I think they will, where Inferno will inevitably be removed, if it's in the coming months, next year, the next operation, I have no idea. But if that happens, and when it does, a new map is going to have to enter the pool. And as much as I'd like to see a map like Train or Cashback inside CS2, one, we've had no word on Train, though it's in the game files. Valve has been working on it. In fact, it was in a lot of the CS2 trailers when the game first debuted. And as it goes for Cash, it isn't ready nor purchased by Valve for them to put it in the map pool. I would personally love to see a brand new map inside CS2's pool. I think it's just time for a refreshing take and experience for pros, viewers, and players from all areas in the Counter-Strike community. And I guess for some extra clarification, this isn't me bashing Inferno or wanting it removed. I actually enjoy it quite a bit when I played on CS2, but I feel like I'm in a kind of neutral stance. If it gets removed, yeah, that's gonna suck. It doesn't play the same as CSGO, but I still think it's a good map. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay positive, stay sexy. I'm out, guys. Peace.